Hey everyone, welcome to Misty Moon Designs. My name's Louisa. Today I'm really excited to share a beautiful project made with the Emerald City bead collection from Sam's Bead Box. But before we dive into the tutorial, I want to do a quick unboxing so you can see exactly what comes in this collection, because the colors, the finishes, and textures really tell the story. Now if you're not familiar with Sam's Bead Box, I'll leave some information down below in the description section of this video, along with a link to the website and a coupon code in case you're interested. And don't forget that I always leave timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And once we take a look at the beads, I'll show you how I turned them into this beautiful layered necklace set with a matching pair of earrings. I'll walk you through my design choices, how I balance the colors, and how you can easily adapt this design using what you have on hand. So if you missed out on getting this box, you can still make this project. Whether you're a beginner or advanced, hopefully you'll enjoy this tutorial. So let's take a quick peek at the contents of the box, and then grab your tools and beads and we'll get started. And here we have Sam's Bead Box for the month of December 2025. As you can see, the name of this box is Emerald City, and you'll have to excuse my nasally voice. I'm trying to get over a cold. So if I don't speak loudly enough, I apologize. But anyway, a little bit about this box. It's a subscription box, and it goes for $49 a month plus shipping. And it comes with high quality Czech glass beads, gemstones, and metal components, usually worth way over $80. And of course, every month it has a different theme, which is what makes this box awesome. And by the way, if you missed out on subscribing on time, you can always go to samsbeadshop.com and look for past boxes, because they do sell them individually. Of course, the cost is going to be a little bit higher outside of the subscription. But anyway, like I said, we're going to do a quick unboxing. If you want to see a full unboxing, I recommend you go to Sam's Bead Shop YouTube channel. That's actually where they do their official unboxings. But I do want to give you a peek, so let's go ahead and open it up. Let's see what it says. It says this month's box is inspired by the elegance of the Emerald City of Oz. And by the way, I'm not reading that first paragraph because I don't want this video to be too long, but they usually write a little something about what inspires each box. But anyway, at the bottom it says, our box sparkles like an emerald with Vitrail, preciosa crystals, and a rainbow-plated obsidian pendant. You'll find a taste of luxury with natural malachite and a graduated strand of white shell pearl. Hot air balloon charms and wooden gears represent the wizard's creative engineering. We complement the emerald colors of the box with a palette of jewel tones, faceted cathedral beads in garnet bronze, and drops in a sapphire mixed glass. As Dorothy and her friends learn to do, let's all believe in our creative dreams and start crafting together. That is so cool. I love that message. And on the opposite side is a list of all the items. And as you can see, the retail value of this box is $93, and on the left is the retail value of each item. Just pull it out. Ooh, look at this. How cool is that? Oh my gosh. Let me pull out the items. I love all these jewel tones. They're so beautiful. Look at this. This kind of reminds me of steampunk a little bit too. Let me get organized and we'll go through each item. here's the entire collection. And I gotta say, guys, this is an absolute visual delight. It really is. It's rich, it's moody, whimsical all at once. It's amazing how they put this palette together. They brought the deep greens, sapphire blues, garnet reds, the jewel tones into an absolute magical storybook. They really did. What really stands out is the variety of textures and shapes and sizes as well. That's one of the nice things about Sam's bead box. They always give you lots of variety. I love the iridescence on this pendant and on these beautiful Art Deco fan-shaped beads. And like I said earlier, these wooden gears and this pendant and the two balloons definitely reminds me of steampunk. But the whole collection is a mix of steampunk and fantasy. I guess steampunk is kind of fantasy, isn't it? In some ways. But I think my favorite is this beautiful strand of quartz coins. They're so sparkly. The tiny Starcut Hematite beads are also very sparkly. But overall, it's a wonderfully curated mix that feels elegant and adventurous at the same time. And I'm saying adventurous because there are a lot of unconventional looking items here. I also like these beautiful preciosa crystals. But whether you're designing something regal, vintage, or fantasy, I think this collection gives you everything you need to do that. It definitely has a lot of personality. And if you have some time, guys, if you could leave some comments, let me know what you think about this collection. I'd really appreciate that. So now that we've taken a look at the whole thing, let's go ahead and jump into today's project. Here are the materials for the first necklace. I'm going to be building some beaded components for this one. Of course, we're going to use that gorgeous clock pendant. I absolutely love it. It measures 31 by 38 millimeters. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I really like it. And we're going to use the fire polished cathedral beads. The color is garnet, as you can see, and they're copper washed. They measure 6 millimeters in size. And in this tray, we have the Melon balloon drops. They're also garnet colored and they have a rainbow luster. They measure 8 by 13 millimeters. And the green ones are called fancy drops in an emerald color with a gold wash. And they measure 10 by 14 millimeters. Now, the nice thing about this necklace is that it's not going to have a clasp. And that's because it's going to measure about 28 inches total. I'm going to use some craft wire, and this one's 20 gauge in a bronze color. And of course, I will be using some jump rings to attach the pendant and also between the beaded components. So let me show you what I had in mind. Of course, the pendant's going to go at the bottom like this. And I'm going to be connecting the large beads by the pendant, kind of like this. I'm not going to lay them all out because I don't have room, but I think you get the idea. And then these are going to go at the very top of the necklace. I think I'm going to probably have 5 of the fancy drop beads and 4 of the melon balloon drops. And then to finish the necklace off, I'll have about 18 or 20 of these beads at the top. But it all depends on how long you want your necklace. And of course, if you want to have a clasp, you can certainly do that. But like I said, I'm not going to have a clasp for this one. So let me show you how to do a beaded component. I'm going to put these beads off to the side because if I have too much on my mat, my camera doesn't focus. Let's work on this one first. I've cut myself a 1.5 inch piece of wire. I'm going to grab it about 3/8 of an inch down, bend it, and now using my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end, making sure that it's flush with my barrels, and form a loop. You want to make sure you close your loop, and you want to make sure that it's centered as well. Let me go ahead and center it. And now I'm going to slide the bead on. Like so. I'm going to grab the wire right here, leaving a little bit of space so you can bend your wire. Using flush cutters, I'm going to snip off the end, leaving 3/8 of an inch. Grab it with my round nose pliers and form another loop. And now I'm going to center my loops. So I'm going to grab both of them like this and line them up. Let's work on this one now. I have another piece of wire. Once again, I'm going to grab it 3/8 of an inch down, bend it, grab the end, form a loop, slide my bead on, grab the wire, bend it, snip off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch, grab the end, and form another loop. Let me line up my loops. So there's my second beaded component. And now I'm going to connect these two components using a jump ring. Here I have a 5mm jump ring. Let me open it up. I'm going to slide this loop in. And now this one. Close up the jump ring. now I have the beginning of my strand. And that's all there is to it. So anyway, I've got a lot of beaded components to make. I'm going to do all of them the exact same way with jump rings in between. And then when I come back, we'll attach the pendant. So I'll see you in a few moments. Okay, as you can see, I've created all my beaded components and connected them. Like I said in the beginning, the whole thing measures 28 inches. There are 18 of the cathedral beads, 5 of the fancy drops on each side, and 4 of the melon balloon drops. And I've connected all of them with jump rings. So now I just need to attach the pendant. I'm going to use this large jump ring to connect these two ends. Let me just hang the strand down. I want to make sure that it's not all twisted. And here's a 4mm jump ring. And what a pretty necklace this is. I really do love the colors. And I am going to model it for you at the end of this video. But now we're going to move on to the second necklace. Let me get the materials for that. Here are the materials for this necklace. This one's going to be relatively simple. It's just going to have some chain and a pendant. I'm using one of the Art Deco fan beads and this 4mm faceted round in a green metallic color. I also have the lobster clasp, some jump rings, a piece of wire, and a ball head pin. The wire is 20 gauge. So let's go ahead and create the pendant. Using my flat nose pliers, I'm going to go ahead and create a bend at about 3/4 of an inch down. With my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the end, making sure it's flush with my barrels, and I'm going to create a loop. Slide the bead on, grab the wire, make another bend, cut off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch, grab the end, and form another loop. Let me line up my loops. And now let's create a little dangle using that green bead. I'm going to slide it onto my ball head pin. Grab the pin, like so. Bend it. Reposition my pliers, wrap the tail around the barrel of my pliers, flip the pliers around, and wrap to the back. I'm going to grab the loop with these pliers, grab the pin, and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess. And now I'm going to go ahead and tuck that little end in. So there's my dangle. And now let me open up this loop. Slide my dangle in. And close it. Super easy. And now I'm going to open up one of these jump rings. These measure, I think, 5mm. Slide my chain into it, both pieces, and now the pendant. Let me close it up. By the way, this chain has links that are 3.5 by 3mm. Let me go ahead and open up one of these jump rings. Slide my clasp into it, and slide this end of the necklace into it. Close it. And now let me open open up this one and slide this end into it. I'm not going to do an extended chain on this necklace, but you certainly could if you wanted to. A very simple necklace. You can wear it by itself or with the other two necklaces. I mostly wanted to do this simple design for a layered effect. So now we're going to move on to the third necklace. Let me get the materials for that. Here are the beads for this necklace. As you can see, I've already strung them. I did it ahead of time, so this video isn't too long. And this one's going to be about 16 inches, maybe 17 by the time you add the clasp and the jump rings and everything. For this one, I used 49 strand beading wire. And they always put the sticker upside down. But anyway, it's 0.018 of an inch in diameter or 0.46 millimeters. And the color is satin gold. And I used the 4mm beads for this one, as you can see. I used 3 types. The gold ones are the Hematite Starcut beads. And the red ones are kind of dark, but they're the Garnet beads, faceted, and they're 4mm in size. And the green ones are the 5 polished faceted rounds. And like I said, they're also 4mm in size. And let me explain what I did here. If you'll notice, I added 2 hematite beads and a size 11.0C bead on either side to break up the bead pattern. But the real reason I added 2 hematite beads is because I wanted to hang these lentil beads in between. Because as you can see, they sit very nicely in between the hematite beads. Otherwise, they wouldn't have anywhere to rest. And then, of course, I followed the same pattern all the way up. I could have changed it and just had single hematite beads all the way up, but I decided to follow the same pattern. And then the other thing that I did, because I didn't have enough of the garnet beads or enough of the green metallic beads, I alternated the bead pattern. So if you'll notice, in this segment, I have 2 garnet beads with a green metallic bead in the middle. The next segment has 2 green metallic beads with a garnet bead in the middle. And this one has the 2 garnets with a green metallic, 2 green metallics with a garnet, 2 garnet and a green metallic, and so on and so forth. So the bead segments are alternating. It's very subtle. You don't even notice it unless you really examine it. But that's the only way that I could get the length that I needed. Because like I said, I didn't have enough of the garnet beads or the green metallic beads to make up the length that I needed. So that's one way to get around it. And I think it looks really cute. It really does. Because actually these lentil beads have a kind of a greenish and a reddish tone. But anyway, I think it looks really nice. And I attached a jump ring to each of these lentil beads. I used 6mm jump rings. Let me show you how I did it. Let me just move this out of the way. I have a 6mm jump ring here. I'm going to open it up. Here's a lentil bead. I'm simply going to slide the jump ring into it like this. And now close it up. I think that's closed. Let me close it up a little bit more. And that's it, guys. Very easy. So now we're going to crimp these ends off. I'm going to use a couple of cord end tips and a couple of crimp tubes. Let me show you. I'm going to slide on one of these cord end tips, and I'm going in from the bottom like this. And now one of these crimp tubes. Using my chain nose pliers, I'm going to grab the crimp tube. And now I'm going to go ahead and squash it. Let me flip it around. Slide my cord end tip up, like that. Cut off the excess beading wire. Close it up. Let me bend this piece of wire back a little bit. Grab it with my round nose pliers and form a loop. Very, very simple. Test it to make sure it's not going to go anywhere, and it isn't. It's on there very well. That's all there is to it, guys. It's very easy. Let me straighten this loop a little bit. I want it centered on that clamshell cover. That's better. Slide my beads down. Make sure there aren't any gaps, and you want to make sure that it's nice and flexible. You don't want it stiff. And now I'm going to open this one up a little bit to make things easy. Slide it onto my beading wire. And now the crimp tube. And now I'm going to grab it with my chain nose pliers. Make sure everything looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and squash it now. Let me do this side. Snip off the excess beading wire. Close up my cord end tip. Some people call these cord end tips, and some people call them clamshell covers. Let me test it. Bend this back and form a loop. Straighten it out a little bit. So this end's done. And now we just need to attach a clasp. And by the way, I was going to use bronze colored cord end tips because the pendant on the other necklace is bronze colored. But I thought I'd use gold instead because it looks a little bit better than bronze. It coordinates better with the beads, and you're not going to see it anyway once it's on. Here are 2 jump rings. They measure 4mm in size, approximately. They look a little bit smaller. You can't always trust what the packaging says, by the way. Sometimes they round things off. So for example, if they're 3.8mm, they may round it off and list them as 4mm. I do want to attach an extended chain. Although I did use bronze colored jump rings on these lentil beads. It really doesn't matter that much, guys. Don't stress about it too much. Here's a lobster clasp. I do want to embellish the extended chain. So here I have a hematite bead on a ball head pin. I'm going to grab it with my round nose pliers, like this. Bend it, reposition. Wrap the tail around the nose of the pliers. Flip the pliers around. Wrap to the back. Let me open up that loop a little bit. Slide my chain into it. Like so. Grab the loop with these pliers. Grab the pin and do a couple of wraps. Cut off the excess pin. Tuck in that little end. So there's my embellished extended chain. It's so cute. I like to have that option so you can wear the necklace longer if you want to. And now let me open up one of these jump rings. Slide my extended chain into it. And now let me slide this end into the jump ring as well. Close it. And now I'm going to open up this one. Slide the clasp into it. And now this end. Pretty easy. I like making easy necklaces. And how cute is this? I think it's super cute. So anyway, if you want a quick project, this would be the one. The most time-consuming part about it is figuring out your bead pattern. But once you do that, it comes together pretty quick. And like I said, I am going to model everything for you at the end of this video. But before I do, let's make a quick pair of earrings. Here are the materials for the earrings. As you can see, I've already made one. It has 2 lentil beads, one of the beautiful hot air balloon charms, and then some dangles using the green metallic beads. I've already semi-mounted them on ball head pins to save time. I've created a loop on these 3. I haven't done this one just yet, but it's the same technique that I used for the extended chain. And this piece of chain measures about 3/4 of an inch. I think the links are about 3.5 by 5mm, but you can use any kind of chain for this project. I've already attached some jump rings to the lentil beads to save time, and I think these actually measure 5mm in size. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, it wasn't easy. You need to make sure that your jump rings are pretty thin, because otherwise they're not going to fit through the holes of the lentil beads. Let me just move this out to the side. Let's go ahead and attach the charm first. I'm going to use a 4mm jump ring, and I've already opened it. I'm going to slide it onto the last link. Close it up. And let me just show you real quick what I did. I basically just started hanging the lentil beads and the dangles to some of the links. And then what I did is I held it up like this to make sure everything dangled properly. So there's really no rule, guys. You just want to make sure that your dangles hang pretty evenly when you hold the earring like this. There is one thing I need to point out though. You want the hot air balloon to be facing forward. So you want to make sure that the links on your chain are facing the right way. So if you look at them, let me just put it down. I think it's easier if I explain it this way. The loop on the charm is horizontal or parallel to the mat. The jump ring is vertical or perpendicular. So this link is horizontal. This one's parallel. This one's horizontal, parallel, horizontal. And that's what you want, because when you go to attach your ear wire hook to that link, you want to make sure that the hot air balloon is facing forward. If this link were perpendicular, then the hot air balloon would hang sideways. I hope that makes sense. So let me go ahead and hang one of these. I'm going to hang it on the first link like this. And now let me go ahead and hang one of these. I'm going to bend it, reposition my pliers, wrap the pin around the barrel of the pliers, flip the pliers around, wrap to the back. Let me open up this loop. I'm going to hang it on the same link. So this first link's going to have two dangles, like this. It's going to have two dangles and the ear wire hook. I'm basically mirroring the other one, the other earring. Let me cut off the excess pin, tuck in that little end. And on the next link, I'm going to have one of these. Let me open up the loop a little bit to make things easy. I'm going to slide it through the link like this. Just like that. Grab it. It's a little tricky because the loop's pretty small. And let me create my wraps. Snip off the excess pin, tuck in the little end, and now I'm going to skip the next link and attach one of the lentil beads to the following link. Let me close it up. So this is what we have so far. If you'll notice on the first link, I have the lentil bead on that side, and on this link, I have the lentil bead on this side. So you do want to kind of do a staggered effect. And like I said, I'm mirroring this one. And actually, I did not skip a link. I thought I did, which is fine because on this one, I haven't skipped a link. So on this first one, I have a lentil bead and a green metallic bead. On the next one, I have a green metallic bead. And on this one, I have another lentil bead. Sorry about the confusion. It's kind of tricky because when I was looking at this, I thought I had skipped a link, but I pretty much have something on every link. So now let me attach one of these. I'm going to open it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to attach it on this side of this link. Like so. We're getting there. So now we just have one more. I'm going to hang it on this side of this link. we just need to hang the ear wire hook. I'm going to go ahead and open up this loop. And I'm going to hang it in between the lentil bead and the green metallic bead on that first link. Let me just make sure everything's hanging properly, and it is. As you can see, they're mirroring each other pretty much. How adorable are these? They're super cute. And let's see how long they are. Without counting the ear wire hooks, they're about 1.5 inches long. Now let me get the 3 necklaces and I'll arrange everything on the table. Well, here's the whole ensemble, and I know you can't see everything. It's really hard to fit everything within the frame of my camera, but you get the idea. I'm super happy with how everything turned out, and I love how rich and whimsical it feels. And if you have time, guys, I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite. And of course, if you enjoyed this project, I'd be very grateful if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so you don't miss out on future tutorials. I truly appreciate you being here. I hope I've inspired you to create your own set. And of course, I'm going to model everything for you, so please stick around for that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.